Today we're skipping the intro because we've got a marathon of a session to get through. We're playing in the Poker Go studio. The event taking place here is the second ever StormX Invitational. It's a $5,000 buy-in hyper turbo with the most unique combination of players that I've ever battled with. Only about 90 players were invited, including poker pros like Daniel Negreanu, Doug Polk, Joe Chung, David Williams, and Maria Ho, who made the final table the first time that they held this event. The rest of the field mostly consists of celebrities and crypto executives like Simon Yu, the CEO of StormX. It should be a blast. Well, for most people. I've been having a lot of success in tournaments this year, but just 3 days ago I had by far the biggest loss that I've ever had, which was covered in the previous vlog. I torched $30,000 on the Lodge live stream. That kind of money hurts for me to lose. My plan was to grind it back slowly in cash games, but I'd already committed to playing this tournament. I buy in a little before it starts. The tournament isn't affiliated with WPT in any way, so I have to come up with the money myself. I sell 30% total and swap another 4% to keep things more manageable. After all, this is the only live 5K I've ever played or even heard of with 20-minute levels. That's right, blinds go up every 20 minutes. This is going to massively increase variance. It'll increase the amount of re-entries and the prize pool as well. It'll reduce the amount of skill edge though. 5K may not be much to some of these top crypto guys and more established poker players, but I don't want to be lighting that type of money on fire, especially after already having my biggest loss ever. It feels like I'm about to be adding several thousand to the deficit, which I can partly justify because this is a one-of-a-kind event where at the very least I can meet some interesting people and develop some connections. And I'm sure as hell going to be playing my best. With a structure like this, it'll be all about picking spots to shove. They had me seated at the outer table initially. Bruce Buffer is here to get us started.
We are live from the Poker Go studio in Las Vegas for the StormX Invitational 2 Poker Tournament, as this is the moment we've all been waiting for. It's time to go to war on the black battlefield of champions. Let's shuffle up and deal!
Pretty amazing to have a legend like Bruce Buffer kick things off. I'm fired up and ready, though also nervous since we start with 100,000 in chips. Sounds like a lot, but it's only 50 big blinds, and in 20 minutes, if we don't chip up, we'll have only 33 or less. Luckily, I run well in the beginning to get up to 200,000 in chips an hour into it. Then, we have our first major decision. Blinds are at 2,500, 5,000, with the 5,000 big blind ante. Under the gun raises to 10,000. The player in middle position 3-bet rips it in for 103,500 total. We've got ace-king offsuit, and we re-rip it. Under the gun folds. The middle position player shows that he got it all in with pocket fours. He's a slight favorite, but it's essentially a flip that I'm happy to take since we have to constantly increase our chip stack in this format if we want a realistic shot at winning this event for over 6 figures. If we take down the pot, we'll be one of the top stacks and we'll send our opponent home, or at least to the cage to rebuy. The flop comes King 7-6 with 2 hearts. We've got top pair and a backdoor flush draw to have the opponent in absolutely terrible shape. The turn is the Queen of Spades. The middle position player has 1 shot at 2 outs. The river is the 8 of Hearts. We knock out our first businessman of the tournament and are off to a phenomenal start. There's no letting up though. We're going to take every halfway decent opportunity that we see today. Patience isn't a virtue, at least not yet in this format. 10 minutes later, we've got ace-queen offsuit in the cutoff. The middle position player open jams for 74,000. It's less than 15 big blinds. Easy decision for us. We call. The opponent has pocket 5s. It's a similar hand as the previous one. Can we win a flip again? It'll be tough as the flop comes Jack 6 deuce with 2 hearts. We don't improve. The turn is the 9 of Hearts. We don't have a heart in our hand while the opponent does. It's not looking good for us. The river is the 10 of Hearts, giving our opponent a flush. We end up with ace high and lose. It was fortunate that we had a big stack to work with, so we're not hurt too badly, and we still have plenty of chips. 13 minutes go by. We pick up pocket 9s in the big blind. The small blind limps in with only 45,000 total. That's good for only 6.5 bigs. My stack isn't what it used to be. I'm down to 125,000. I shove for 45,000 effective. The small blind calls with Jack 7 of Hearts. We've got a big lead. The dealer tries his best to make us lose, but is unsuccessful as the flop comes King 7 rainbow. The opponent pairs a 7. That's not much of a concern because our 9s are still best. I start getting more concerned as the Jack comes on the turn.
Oh, come on.
The river is a queen. It doesn't help us. All of a sudden, I'm down to 80,000 in chips. It's less than what we started the day with. We get to level 6. Blinds are 4,000, 8,000. Guess what hand comes to the rescue? That's right. Pocket jiggities. We've got 76,000 in middle position. People are dropping like flies. I jam for just under 10 bigs, hoping that I'm not one of them. We get called by another crypto executive. The button has ace-8 of diamonds and he has us covered. If we lose this, we'll be eliminated. There's still a few minutes to rebuy, but I'd like to avoid that because we'd only have 12.5 big blinds, and I'd likely sell 50% of my action with very little play. We need to win this hand right now. The flop comes King, King 8 with 2 clubs and 1 diamond, similar to the previous hand when we lost on the turn. Well, the same thing happens on the turn this time too. The dealer puts out a jack again, giving us a full house to seal the double up. The river is an inconsequential 3. Had you thinking that maybe we were going to lose, but I tricked you, and I tricked you good. Even with this win, we've still only got about 20 big blinds. Just minutes before registration ends, we get one more chance to win a big pot with pocket 10s in the cutoff. The player in middle position raises to 16,000. He's the opponent who beat us in the all-in with pocket 5s earlier. We need to get revenge. I 3-bet jam for 148,000 total. The player in the big blind is the person who lost to us when we made the jiggity boat. He needs to get revenge as well. He cold calls the jam. He's got us covered. The initial pre-flop raiser folds. It's heads up. We're battling against ace-queen offsuit in a big pot for our tournament life. I want the victory badly.
Ace queen? Oh jeez, come on.
Dude, you already got me on one of these.
We didn't want to see paint, and it's all paint. Luckily, the flop is king jack jack rainbow. The good news is that we maintain the lead and the opponent can't win with a straight. The bad news is that another king will counterfeit our 2-pair, and the big blind can still hit an ace or queen to win. The turn is the 8 of diamonds. We need to fade some big cards in order to once again get above the 300,000 mark. The river is the 8 of clubs. It's never fun being against 2 overs when you don't flop a set. Every street is scary, but with this pot coming our way, we get up to 324,000 right as registration ends. Just over halfway into level 7, only 1/3 of the field remains. There were 130 entrants total. First will be 175,000. We'll have to final table this event just to make the money. 9th place is 17,550. There are substantial pay jumps with each knockout after that. Our first table breaks, then we get sent to the feature table with a handful of people I know, including Lynn G and Maria Ho.
How are you?
The WPT ambassador, the YouTube vlogger, really YouTube superstar in the poker world. That would be Brad Owen, ladies and gentlemen.
Good, I'm Michael.
I'm Brad, nice to meet you.
Brad? Yeah, I thought that's what they said.
Brad. Hi.
I'm glad to be at the feature table and to be meeting some new people, but I'm also not loving it because I can get knocked out at any minute, and I've already lost enough on stream in the last few days. To make things more interesting, I don't even get to play a hand before fellow poker vlogger Rampage joins us at the new location. He's been crushing everything lately. The night before this session, he won the biggest pot of his life for a couple $100,000. He's had tons of tournament success, including in this very studio just weeks before, where he got first in a stacked field for $197,600 and a Poker Masters trophy. He's a force to be reckoned with. Shortly into our time at the new table, Maria Ho is one of my favorite players and personalities in poker, open shoves for $130,000. I've got pocket 7s on the button and about 13 big blinds. I reshove. I'm happy to see the situation that we somehow have Maria dominated. Maria is less happy about it.
Here we go.
Oh no!
Oh no, indeed.
I thought we were gonna flip.
No.
That's a little
I think it looks
unfortunate.
good. I haven't seen it before, but
I
it's
got
sick.
7s against Brad's
I'll take it.
6s, but I feel a 6 coming.
I certainly don't want to see a 6. The flop comes ace-7-3 with 2 clubs. We drill middle set at a crucial point. We pretty much have this thing locked up. Let's just ship the pot our direction. No need to see a turn in river. Unfortunately, the tournament director doesn't go for that idea. The turn is the 9 of clubs, giving Maria way more hope than I'd like. She can pick up the win if she hits a club that's not an ace.
Spicy turn
Yeah,
card.
look at this. Crush his soul on the river. Give it, like, make him think he has it locked up on the flop.
Don't do it to me.
Yes.
River card. Maria
Club.
needs a club to
So many
stay
clubs left in the deck.
alive. And it's a 9 of spades.
Unlucky.
Good luck, guys.
That will do it for the
Well played,
StormX
Maria.
ambassador, Maria Ho.
I've known Maria for years now. We actually played alongside Doyle Brunson in a 100-200 cash game that'll be televised at some point in the next few months. Maria is as good as it gets when it comes to being a representative for poker. Here's what she had to say about her time in this tournament.
I mean, this is one of the most fun events of the year, obviously. So it was great to get to play with a lot of new faces, but of course a lot of familiar ones from last year as well. Couple pros still in the mix, and one of the pros got me. So a little pro on pro violence. It's all good though.
The field is whittling down. There are only 24 players left when Jacob Dalla comes in to replace Maria. Jake is a mixed game crusher, he's a coach for Upswing, and he's also part owner at the lodge with me. He's hilarious, but I'd rather not see him at my table right now. While I'm able to connect with my business partner, the stream is voting on a nickname for me since I don't really have one yet.
Approaching, I think, 400 votes.
Okay.
That's great.
It is essentially tied.
Wow, it is.
51% lean the Vlogfather, 49% Wonder Brad.
To be honest, I'm not sure how I feel about either of these nicknames. That's the least of my worries. As we get close to the money, the field gets smaller and smaller, and we have fewer and fewer big blinds. The nickname thing seems to be the main focus of the chat, though.
And again, the cutoff for this poll will be at
30,
600 votes.
Okay, so it stopped at
Whoever the
600.
winner is, that is going to be the official Brad Owen nickname, whether he likes it or not.
When like
And it's
most
still
of the places
50-50.
And it's,
Okay,
I mean, this
like-
is incredible.
Should be 305.
Brett Hanks and Jeff Platt are doing a great job talking about everything aside from the fact that I just 3-bet ripped it with pocket fours from the button for 10 big blinds. This is an extremely tense moment for me, made worse by the fact that a chip of mine gets stuck in the rail to make me look like an idiot on the live stream. The opponent Pierre knows from Mike Caro's book of poker tells that accidentally getting your chip stuck in a table is a sign of weakness. He makes the call for a good chunk of his stack with King-Jack offsuit. We're flipping again. This is a massive one for nearly 700,000. The flop comes 6-6-3 rainbow. It's a good start for us. The turn is the 9 of spades. The opponent can hit any King, Jack, or 9 to win. There's a big moment. We don't want to see any paint. The river is the Queen of Diamonds. It's a safe card that allows us to take down the pot in order to get to 7 times what we started the tournament with. We've got a little bit of breathing room, but we still can't completely relax with 23 big blinds at the moment. I'm at least feeling much better about our situation. The conclusion of the poll for my nickname also comes in.
Seal the deal. The
Vlogfather
Vlogfather is the winner.
Now is probably a good time to mention that the Vlogfather is already reserved for Andrew Niemi's nickname, so we're gonna have to come up with something different. While the blinds go up to 20,000, 40,000, our stack has gone down to 435,000 when it's folded to us in the cutoff. We see Jack 7 suited. I'm actually not quite sure what to do. There are a variety of things that I consider in this type of situation before making a decision when I'm on the fence. The first two things are my stack size and position. I've got roughly 11 big blinds with 3 players left to act behind me. If I can get through the first 2 players, it's a shove for only 8 big blinds effective since Rampage just lost a big pot and now has the shortest stack at the table. Rampage should be calling it all in with a relatively wide range, but he'll still be folding some hands that are slightly ahead, like King Deuce through King 5 offsuit. Plus, he may call with some hands that we're ahead of, like 10-9 suited down to 8-7 suited. Even most hands he'll call with that have us beat pre-flop won't be terrible for us as long as we have 2 live cards. None of these factors that we've considered so far really sway me one way or the other. What's mostly weighing on my mind is that blinds are going up extremely quickly. If we don't play extra aggressively, I risk getting blinded out. If my stack remains the same over the next few minutes, I'll soon have less than 9 big blinds. This fast structure makes me lean way more towards shoving. One last factor is that I have a solid image at the moment, I haven't gotten out of line, and I've done well at the table so far. This could allow me to get some extra folds in spots where maybe other times opponents would call me lighter. With all these thoughts running through my head, I go ahead and jam. If we can just win the blinds, that'd be massive for us at this stage in the tournament. We get through the button, small blind picks up ace-6 offsuit. We obviously don't want to get called by that. The opponent has a tough decision. He asks for a count. It's more than he feels comfortable putting in the middle. Fortunately, the opponent folds, and I don't blame him. The action's on Rampage. He gets a count as well, though we have him covered. He looks at one card. It isn't great. Then he looks at the other. It's connected and suited. It's a dream situation for us. He has one of those hands that I mentioned before that could call our shove with only 8 big blinds that we have dominated. He wishes that he had an easier decision.
Well, that sucks.
We're playing right down to a winner.
Get a look. Oh, they're suited.
Jake asks for a look, and Rampage shows that we have him crushed if he calls. There's no way for Ethan to know that he only has 1 live card. It's about the best situation possible for us. Ethan is looking at the clock and probably notices blinds are going up soon as well. He can't afford to be patient and is also forced to take some aggressive lines. Ultimately, he flips in a chip for a call. We both turn over our cards at about the same time. Rampage isn't too thrilled to see that we're about a 2-1 favorite to eliminate the young stud. I take out a Diet Coke. Rampage takes out his phone to potentially make a vlog from this footage. I know that there are better cameras filming, so I'm not very concerned about that. I just don't want an 8 to hit. The flop comes ace king 6 with 2 hearts and a spade. We're somehow in great shape with just jack high. The turn is the 4 of spades, giving us a flush draw, and Rampage a gut shot straight draw. Our equity goes up though. We're close to a win, yet it feels so far. The river is the deuce of hearts. We pull a Robbie Lou to win a massive pot with jack high to eliminate another opponent. You may have noticed that if the small blind called pre-flop with ace-6 offsuit, he would have made 2 pair on that board and knocked me out. It's a really interesting situation for me, the small blind, and rampage in the big blind. It's the kind that I like to dissect the second that I get a chance, and I do so with a variety of tools. First, we can go to the push-fold chart that you have access to with the membership to pokercoaching.com, which I have a link to down below in the description box. We input all the data for our situation to see that with 11 big blinds in the cutoff, Jack-7 suited is actually not a shove, it's a fold. Jack-8 suited is a shove, so Jack-7 is right on the cusp, but then if we make it through the small blind and are only shoving for 8 big blinds effective against Rampage, we see that several more hands become shoves, including Jack-7 suited. Now if we go to an app called Snap Shove that's available on your phone, we can see what the opponents are supposed to call with. For 11 big blinds effective, the small blind is supposed to be calling with ace-5 offsuit or better. His ace-6 offsuit should have been a call, and he would have won a big pot. However, we're getting closer to the money. A min cash is for 3.5 times the buy-in amount, so avoiding big risk is definitely reasonable. Plus, I think my solid image helped me get a fold out of a hand that might have called normally. Finally, we get to Rampage's range. For 8 big blinds effective, you see at the very bottom that 8-7 suited falls into the call category. All 3 of us were on the cusp of playing for stacks or folding. Rampage made the difficult but correct decision to get it in. Fortunately for us, we had a hand that had him in bad shape. We got a good run out to pretty much double up in order to get one step closer to the money. As I'm still stacking my chips, we look over to see my business partner Jake taking his time to figure out what he wants to do with ace-king offsuit. He's first to act. There's only 1 big blind since it's the very next hand when Ethan would have been the small blind. Jake open shoves. I just got these chips, but they won't have much time to settle. I call the all-in with pocket queens. It's a pretty even fight in a lodge versus lodge showdown with over $1 million in the middle. The flop comes 7-4-3 rainbow. We're 60% of the way there as long as we can get a clean turn and river. The dealer puts out the 10 of spades. It's basically a blank. There's only 1 card to come that can save Jake. Otherwise, he's eliminated. The river is the 6 of hearts, giving us another big win as we stack opponents in back-to-back hands and send Jake back to the lodge where he hosts a weekly mixed game that you don't want to miss if you're ever in the Austin area. It's probably the most fun format of poker that takes place there, even if you've never played mixed games before. With that knockout, we're down to 16 players. There are only 2 tables left. 7 players need to get knocked out before we make the final table and the money. We've got 1.5 times the average stack. For the first time all tournament, I'm starting to feel like it's a real possibility that we'll cash. I don't like to think about that stuff too prematurely since this is a turbo and anything can happen. Despite having 1.35 million in chips, we're about to only have 27 big blinds, while over 40% of the field still needs to be eliminated before we make a cent. This is an awesome tournament to make the money in since only 6.9% of the players actually accomplished that goal, which is half the percentage of a lot of other tournaments. It makes bubbling extremely brutal though. Kitty Quo gets seated on my direct right, then Kitty Quo gets eliminated in 13th place just as she was beginning to tell me in perfect English a story about handsome man. It kills me that I won't know what Kitty was trying to tell me if she gets up to leave. Luckily, she includes a lot about her life on Twitter that you can follow. I'm pretty sure that this is what she was talking about. Although on second thought, it could have been this, or this, or this. Shit, I guess I'll never be able to narrow it down to the right story about handsome man. They all make about the same amount of sense though. At our table, players are going down relatively quickly. We just don't want any tough decisions for a little while. Alex G gets eliminated. We're down to 11 players at the moment. The other table has a lot of short stacks that seem to be stalling, so the tournament director steps in to make it hand for hand 2 knockouts away from the money. Lin G is short and gets it in with 9-8 offsuit against pocket 10s. It appears that there's an all-in and a call at the other table as well. If both players at risk lose, then we'll make the cash.
Oh,
I believe that was Sashimi going wild. Perhaps an elimination.
There indeed was an elimination. We're down to the stone bubble. If 10s hold, we're guaranteed to minimally get a big chunk of what we lost on the Lodge livestream back immediately. We'll have an opportunity to recover all of it, plus an extra 145,000. The flop comes King 10-6 with 2 spades. Pocket 10s makes a set. Lynn's last hope is to drill a gutter. The turn is the 3 of clubs. It doesn't change anything for Lynn. The river is the ace of spades, eliminating Lynn. She fought hard and played well, but I'm happy to see her leave. Nearly everyone else who plays significant amounts of poker has been knocked out. Not only do we make the money, we make the final table where we're playing for 6 figures and are the most experienced out of everyone remaining.
I believe Brent Ryan Feldman eliminated at our outer table. You heard it from Paul
there we
Campbell.
go.
Congratulations to everybody. The bubble has burst, and a big bubble at that.
So we heard Sashimi going wild out here at the outer table at the elimination of Ryan Feldman.
I'm not too mad about Ryan no longer being in. I feel like I can breathe a little after making my first really big final table while outlasting a lot of great players in the process. It's up to me and Sashimi to represent Team Poker. Then there are 7 other guys trying to stack us that are representing Team Crypto.
So we are down to our final 9. Daniel Lee, Brad Owen, Kasper Piotrowski, Shingo Levine, Richard Lee, Ben Middleton, David Malka, Sashimi, and Amir Marmar. They fight for a first place prize of more than $175,000 when we come back at the StormX Invitational 2.
Just made the final table. There's 9 left. We're in the money, guaranteed $17,550. Got 1.1 million. Blinds are ridiculously high. 175,500 for first. If we can make some page, I mean, there's a pay jump every time someone gets knocked out now. So, and they're big pay jumps. So this is something that's pretty awesome. We take our seat, and I have to be honest. This is a dream scenario. You look around. There's no Joe Chong. There's no Daniel Negreanu or Doug Polk. It's mostly people who are extremely successful businessmen who are smart enough to make it in something other than poker, so the money we're playing for right now means very little to them. That's really the level to aspire to be at, but in the moment, this is my arena. The sights are set on first place. The person I have to be most worried about is poker influencer Sashimi. I'm licking my chops while I'm formulating a plan to take down this title. We've got a designer, a crypto trader, a CEO of an accounting firm that I initially misread and thought was called Jedi Accountants, which is a badass name, but now that I know that it's really JFDI Accountants, I'm much less threatened by this guy. Then there's another CEO. It's always my favorite when I find out that someone at the table is a CEO or co-founder. Co-founder is great because it means they couldn't even found something on their own. One other fantastic thing to hear is that someone at the table is a partner. Every single one of these titles, without exception, and maybe partner in particular, is synonymous with giant whale. Wait, hold on there. That was not a cool edit. Okay, whatever. I've got a lot on my mind. First, I'm gauging what the chip stack situation is and what the payouts are so I can figure the best way to navigate the final table. We're right in the middle of the pack, tied for 5th in chips coming into this. We've got less than 15 big blinds with several shorter stacks, and the chip leader only has about 30 big blinds. This structure isn't conducive to waiting around and really reduces any edge that I may have, but at the same time, if I can ladder up, I can ideally make some huge pay jumps quickly before making some riskier plays to get first. I've been on the verge of several massive tournament scores recently, including the WPT 5 Diamond only 8 days ago when I lost an enormous pot after getting an all-in pre-flop with aces versus ace king on day 3 to be eliminated in 54th for a $22,400 payout. As a mostly cash game player, that's the biggest tournament score of my career up to this point, though in the last 2 months, I've had 3 other ones in the same $20,000 range. I just can't seem to get over the hump. I feel like Jim Kelly, constantly knocking on the door of a big title, but not quite being able to achieve it. Maybe today will be my day. If we get 8th or better, we'll get a new record payout. If we get 6th or better, we'll win all the money back from the lodge. If we get 2nd or better, we get our first 6-figure score. We can't make any mistakes. The very first hand, we're put to maybe the toughest decision of the tournament so far. We've got ace-jack offsuit under the gun +1. Under normal circumstances, I'd snap jam, but against this group, with so many shorter stacks than me, I'm reluctant to take a high variance approach. I think that I may be able to outplay some of these people even with only 11 big blinds. I prefer not to get it in immediately from early position with a hand like this until another player or two have been knocked out. Ace-10 offsuit would definitely be a fold. Ace-queen offsuit, I'd probably open jam. Ace-jack offsuit is another hand that's on the cusp. I min-raise to see what'll happen from there. The min-raise from under the gun +1 still looks really strong. Players are folding one at a time until it gets to Sashimi, who picks up a monster given the circumstances with ace-queen suited. She has the second shortest stack with only about 12 big blinds total. She 3-bet jams with the shortest stack at the table in the big blind. Her play has to have been made with a monster for her to do it against me from my position, while she could easily sit quiet and ladder up. The big blind folds. The problem for me is that it's not for too much more, and if I fold, I go from being in 5th place to being in 8th place. I essentially trade spots with Sashimi on the leaderboard. I'm not sure what to do, but I don't think she's ever bluffing here. Or maybe she's a wild woman. Who knows? I think that I may be able to find a better spot, and I can potentially secure a bigger payout if I wait. I go with my gut and make a laydown that very likely allows me to avoid being eliminated in 9th place, at least for now.
Brutal spot for Brad Owen. That's a great fold. Hard to do.
He does find the fold.
If I had called and lost, I would have had to have gone all in within the next 2 hands. Instead, 2 hands later, we have life. Shingo Levine opens 150k from early position with ace-10 suited. It folds to us. We've got about 12 big blinds. Against an early position raiser, I certainly don't feel comfortable 3-bet jamming. I call for 75,000 more. We're going heads up out of position. The flop comes 7-5-4 with 2 spades. We completely brick it, but it's a flop that'll be better for our range than the opponent's. I check. Pretty quickly, the opponent checks back. I figured there's a good chance that he has an ace-high type of hand. I wouldn't envision him being strong and checking back very often at all. The turn is the 3 of diamonds, putting 4 to the straight on board. I can have all types of straight, set, and 2-pair combos that the opponent won't have. I use that to my advantage and bet 250,000 as a complete bluff. It kind of handcuffs ace-high hands. Even with the wheel draw, Levine could be drawing dead. Note that if I had ace-high here, I may not attempt to bluff because then I at least beat some of the opponent's king-high hands and have some showdown value. Levine doesn't have any good options. He folds. We get the bluff through to scoop a significant pot at an important time. Meanwhile, Sashimi's stack gets low. She's forced to get it in with pocket 5s. She's up against pocket 9s. She doesn't improve on the king-deuce-deuce flop. The turn is the 7 of spades. Sashimi gets up to walk away for good luck. I've seen that tactic work before, but not now. The river is the ace of spades. Sashimi is eliminated in 9th place for $17,550. She can feel good about that. We're currently guaranteed our new tournament high score of $23,400, though I absolutely don't want that at this point since another cash in the low 20k range would definitely make me feel cursed. Everyone is relatively short except for the players in 1st and 2nd. Hopefully I can at least get 5th, if not better. Immediately after losing a big all-in, Ben Middleton is crippled and has 2 big blinds under the gun +1. He has to shove with almost any 2 cards. He looks down at pocket 8s and rips it. It folds to me on the button. I'm sitting pretty uncomfortably in 5th place with slightly more than 5 big blinds. The graphics haven't registered yet, but I've got ace-9 offsuit. I figured that I'm way ahead of a 2 big blind shove range from whatever the position is. If we go to the range under the gun +1 is supposed to shove 2 big blinds with, we see that it's literally over 85% of hands. Even if I call and lose, I'll be in a similar situation that I'm in now. I'll be sitting with 3 other short stacks hoping that others will bust out ahead of me. I 3-bet jam to isolate someone who I figure I'll be a favorite against the vast majority of the time. The blinds fold. It's down to heads up for a pot of nearly $1 million. I'm surprised to see that Middleton has a hand as good as the one he's got. Pocket 8s is definitely towards the top of his range. We're a slight underdog. The flop comes 7-4 deuce rainbow. Neither of us improve. I'm down to 6 outs twice. The turn is the 10 of clubs, which doesn't do anything for me. I need an ace or 9, otherwise I'll be the shortest stack at the table. The river is the jack of spades, giving the opponent a much needed double up. I trade places with him on the leaderboard. All of a sudden, I'm the one that everyone is rooting for to get knocked out. Looks like I'm destined for another score of around 20,000 after all. It's easy to get down in these moments. Maybe I shouldn't have reshoved or even called. If I had folded, the big blind had queen jack offsuit, he would have called for 1 big blind more, then 1 on the river to guarantee a pay jump for us. It's easy to go to a dark place, but the fact of the matter is that no one at the table has that many chips. To win this tournament, I was going to have to get lucky anyway. I ran up 1 big blind on the stone bubble with a monster stack a few years ago into a pile of chips. There's no reason that I can't do something similar here with about 4 big blinds. I'm absolutely not going down without a fight. If I get eliminated in 8th, so be it. The very next hand, it folds to me in the cutoff. I jam for the small amount that I've got left with king 7 suited. The button folds as queen 5 suited. The small blind has me completely dominated with king jack offsuit. I guess sometimes it's just your time to die. And sometimes it isn't. The small blind doesn't want to risk losing at the moment. He folds and leaves it up to the big blind to make the call for a quarter of his stack. The big blind has 8-5 offsuit. He pretty much has to call with anything. He puts in the chips. I'm relieved to see that we're a 2-1 favorite. I just don't want this to be the end of our ride. I'm nervous, hoping that we can last at least a little longer. The flop comes king, king, queen, giving us trips, nearly flopping the opponent dead as long as we can fade runner, runner, spades. You won't see me celebrating just yet. I've seen too many brutal things happen. The turn is the queen of clubs, giving us a full house in the win. The river is the 8 of clubs, but it doesn't matter. We go from being on life support to being right back in the thick of it. We've got 4th place chips in front of us. If we double through the current chip leader, we'll actually become the new chip leader. I'm not planning on getting knocked out anytime soon. Meanwhile, Amir Marmar gets short and busts in 8th place for over 23,000. Next, Middleton is all in and at risk with pocket 10s against ace-9 after getting the chips in pre-flop. He has to fade an ace or 9 on the river to win, or if a 5th club comes, it'll be a chop.
Oh,
Ace of hearts
dear.
on the river.
Yikes.
You two guys, good run.
That's a devastating way to go out. We're left with 6 players and guaranteed $35,100. If we can outlast one more player, we'll be making $11,700 pay jumps or more the rest of the way. I'm playing as focused as I can, but I'm also the shortest stack again. With blinds at 100,000, 200,000, we've got King Jack offsuit in the cutoff. There's only one play to make. I shove for less than 4.5 big blinds. Shingo Levine is in another tough spot in the small blind with King 7 suited. A lot of people would call in this situation. If he does, he'll need help. Eventually, he gets away from it, but the big blind snap calls with ace 9 offsuit and a large stack that has us covered. Turns out, it's really us who needs the help. One of our kings is already gone, we've got only 5 outs, and we need the big blind to not hit an ace on top of that. Otherwise, we'll be out in 6th. We've actually done well to get it in ahead, or just as a slight underdog the entire day. This is the worst that we've gotten it in, which is 41% equity. Just maybe, we've got some magic left. If you haven't hit the like button yet, hit it on the count of 3 for extra run good. Ready? 1, 2, 3. The flop comes Jack, Jack 9 with 2 diamonds. We flop trips again. The opponent has a 0.4% chance of knocking us out. The queen on the turn reduces that to a nice round 0%. It's a massive double up to keep our dream alive of getting a 6-figure score. The 6 on the river, for formality purposes, allows us to cross over the 2 million chip mark for the first time today. We're currently in 3rd place. That's a great spot to be in. Still, there will be no rest for us since 2 million in chips means we've got 10 big blinds. Everyone is insanely shallow at the moment. I'll just be continuing to try and pick my spots the best that I can. A few hands later, there's a 3-way all-in that we're thankfully not involved in. It's ace 4 offsuit versus ace 5 suited versus pocket jiggities. Somehow, all 3 players are at risk since Lee and Malka have the exact same stack sizes. I'm rooting for anything but a chop so that I'll be guaranteed 4th place if 2 players get knocked out. It's the most important pot of the night so far. Malka mainly just needs to avoid an ace.
Ace, queen, 6.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
King.
The situation immediately flips on Malka. He's now the one who needs to improve by hitting just one of 2 live outs. It's incredibly unlucky to go from being a huge favorite to win a gigantic pot to only having an 11% chance at staying alive. He takes it in stride though. The turn is the 9 of spades, making it very likely that ace 5 and ace 4 will chop unless either of them pair their kicker. The river is the deuce of clubs, sending Malka home. Some people might tell you that it's great to get it in against 2 guys each holding an ace in that spot, but it's important to remember that no matter what, there's no right way to play jiggities. Malka is eliminated in 6th place for 35,000. I'm not joking when I say that I believe that he was in for 5 bullets, so he only profited $10,000. For us normal humans, $10,000 is a nice profit. For these moguls, it's nothing. Here I am sitting with 4 brilliant dudes, 3 spots away from potentially my first ever 6-figure score. All of us agree to take a 5-minute break. There will be no talks of a chop, despite only 5 of us remaining, and the average stack being 2.6 million. For now, that's 13 big blinds. After 4 minutes of play, that amount will be less than 9 big blinds. I'm just happy that we've made it to the big pay jump territory and are guaranteed over twice my previous biggest tournament score. There's 5 players left right now, guaranteed 47,000, and there's big pay jumps, so everyone's really close. I've got like 8 big blinds, but I'm not that far behind everybody else. I think that I might be the shortest stack at the moment, but pretty exciting right now. Here's a look at the chip counts. We see that Shingo Levine and I are down in the bottom with less than 10 big blinds, but everyone is within striking distance. We make our way back to the table. There will be no shortage of action at all. Levine is the first to act pre-flop. He picks up King Jack offsuit and has 7.5 big blinds. Shingo raises to 475,000. He's not going to get through a single player. Lee on his left has ace 10 offsuit. Rather than call or fold, Lee 3-bet jams for 2.3 million. Folds back to Levine. He gets the rest of it in for about $1 million more. It's a 60-40 situation. King Jack is at risk. The flop comes 10-9-6, all clubs. Not much changes. Ace-10 makes a pair, but King-Jack can still make a better pair or hit the queen for a straight. The turn is another 10, giving Lee trips. This changes things quite a bit. Levine will be sent home if he doesn't drill a gutter. The river is the jack of spades, giving Levine a pair that's no good. One more player is gone. Shingo Levine did well to ladder up and get his biggest payout ever for almost $47,000. Like all these guys, he's got a great attitude and is a lot of fun to play with. He came up to me earlier in the day with his dad to tell me that they enjoy watching the vlogs. It's always cool when that type of stuff happens. He should be very proud of himself. Out of 130 entries, there are now only 4 of us left. I've got a significantly smaller stack than the rest of the players. I've checked all the boxes on my to-do list, except 2. Those checked boxes include making the money, getting my biggest score, and recovering everything that I lost at the lodge. The only item still on the list is to make it to heads up in order to get a 6-figure payout, then finally win it all. To accomplish these goals, I need to turn on the heat immediately. I'll be in the blinds 50% of the hands. I need to fight for the pots to increase the chip stack. I've got nothing to lose. The first cards we look at while it's four-handed are King-7 offsuit on the button. We've got just under 8 big blinds. We're supposed to be shoving about 50% of the time under these conditions. King-7 offsuit falls within that range by a decent margin. We can shove offsuit kings as weak as King-3. I announced that we're all in. The small blind has one of the worst hands in poker. We get through him easily. It's not going to be as easy to get through the second biggest stack at the table, who wakes up with Ace-Jack offsuit. The big blind makes the call with what's a monster at the moment. I'm surprised that I'm immediately at risk, and even more surprised to see such a strong hand from Lee after he was just dealt Ace-10 and knocked out Levine in 5th. This isn't good for us.
Owen all in and at risk again with King-7 up against Ace-Jack.
Where you at, breadcrumbs in the chat? Let us know. King-7. You better summon the cards if you want your guy to double up here.
This is it. In terms of what this pot equates to in actual dollars, it's perhaps the biggest one that I've ever played. If we win, we'll be second in chips. Our stack will be worth $113,000. We just have to get there. The flop comes Ace-9-9 with 2 spades, with no backdoor draws at all. I've got less than a 1% chance of surviving. I need to hit runner-runner king or runner-runner 7. I already know that the chances of that happening are slim, so I get ready for a swift exit. Perhaps it's a bit early though. The turn is the king of spades, giving us a glimmer of hope. We now have a 5% chance to pull off the sickest beat of my life. 1 out of 20 times, we'll hit it. Can we do it when we need to the most? The river is the 8 of hearts. Our day is over, but it was one hell of a fun day.
Well, good game to Brad Owen.
Good game, man. Yeah.
Valiant effort.
It was good playing with you, Brad.
With some nice laddering up to 4th for more than $58,000.
Impressive. That's going to make that $30,000 cash game loss not feel so bad.
Sure, yeah. No, we are
And
two.
there were
Actually,
3. The podium
I put in
has
3,
arrived.
yeah.
It's always a bit disappointing to get knocked out anytime we don't win, but this was another amazing experience. I had some trepidation about buying into the tournament at all since I didn't want to compound the loss that I had in Austin. I'm glad I came out. I played about as good as I'm capable of playing. I outlasted a lot of really talented players. I made the most money that I've ever made in a day, but once again, I've still got some unfinished business. The player who knocked me out, Richard Lee, takes down the tournament for $175,000. Tafo gets second for $117,000. They're both thrilled, and so am I. For the first time in my life, I won a couple of cranberry chips and some change. I tipped the dealers and staff $800, plus I sold 30% and swapped another 4% with players who didn't cash, but altogether, I still personally profit almost $35,000 in 8 hours of playing. That's it, man. Finally, I've had a bunch of tournament scores that were around the 20K mark, so to get one that's almost 60,000 feels really good. You know, it's really tough when you're playing that shallow. So to ladder up and make some big pay jumps, that was something that was really my goal. And then I felt like I could make a move with the King-7 there with like 8 big blinds. So happy about that, and yeah. And I can kind of just relax and enjoy the night now. So pretty special day for me. I lost 30,000 at the lodge like 4 days ago, so I didn't think that I would get that back anytime soon. I thought it was going to be a long time before I recuperated that amount, so to get that back and more is like awesome for me, and I'm just really enjoying tournaments. I'm running really well, and hopefully I can keep it up. That's it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like and subscribe buttons. Helps out the channel a ton. I've got a goal to eventually get to 1 million subscribers, and you know, it may take a while to do that, or it may never happen, but perhaps with your guys' help, it will. So, you know, please help me get there. Anyway, this was just an awesome day for me. I lose 30,000 at the lodge, then 3 days later, I get it all back and then some. I just had a great time playing with everybody there. Big thanks to Poker Go Studio. Big thanks to Stormex. And I actually made a video of the making of this video that I'm posting on my second channel, Brado and Clips. So I'll have a link down below in the description box to that video. There's just a lot of effort, a lot of interesting things. And if you're ever interested in seeing kind of the behind the scenes of a poker vlog, then it's the perfect video for you. A lot going on this month in December. Actually, today, as a lot of you are watching this, I'm gonna be at the Win. We're doing a big meetup game to kick off the WPT World Championship Series that's going on all month, so that's where I'll be playing. But Doyle Brunson, Phil Ivey, Patrick Antonius, Phil Hellmuth, Steve Aoki, Andrew, and me, we're all gonna be there playing 2-5, 1-3, and PLO. So it's a chance to play with a ton of legends of the game, and all these guys are gonna be out here for the entire month and playing the World Championship that takes place December 12th through I think the 21st or so, 20th or 21st. But yeah, a lot going on. I hope you guys are all doing well. Hope you're staying safe. Good luck at the tables, and I'll see you next time.